Hello everyone, welcome to a new episode of I Am Talking. In today's video, I want to talk about the 1 year anniversary of the merger between WWE and UFC. As you all know, in April last year, 2023, the two companies announced that they will merge together, and in September of the last year, in September 2023, the merger between WWE and UFC was completed, and the company in September 2023 was officially listed on the stock market. So basically, now the WWE and UFC together form TKO Group Holdings, and I want to talk about what has changed in the past year since the company was officially listed on the stock market as TKO. And now the first thing that catches the eye is the fact that a sports giant was created. So TKO Group Holdings is now, the parent company of both the WWE and UFC. And so, the size of the company is just enormous because not just they don't have just the WWE and UFC, they don't have just training facilities and developing grounds, but they especially the WWE, as they have a lot of they have many ramifications in in movies, in the television industry, in the music industry, and so does the UFC. And so the size of this company is just enormous. And now one aspect of this merger is the fact that the combined worth of the new company of this merger is estimated at 21.4 billion US dollars. Even if like this amount of money, any company, if you check the stock market, this amount is enormous because not just sports, and not just the company is larger than many other companies outside of the sport domain. And one aspect of this also, in terms of financial and marketing, is the fact that the two companies complete each other, and not just financially, in any other aspect. Because as UFC is mixed martial arts, and those are real fights, and the WWE is professional wrestling, which is basically matches that are where the wrestlers improvise a set of moves, and the result is predetermined. And for example, here on YouTube, so it's basically plus and minus. The two companies combine each other, and they complete each other in all aspects. Take for example on YouTube, WWE, the WWE channel is one of the largest channels in the world with 106 million subscribers. And then UFC has 18 point some million subscribers. So both of these companies, what one company does not have, the other one has, and the same way the other way around, in not just financially but in every other aspect. Now, one more thing that we have to talk about in this regard is the fact that legitimacy was brought back to the WWE. If you all remember, when Brock Lesnar started his career in WWE in early 2000s, he was known for his matches with Kurt Angle, John Cena, and however, Brock Lesnar, which is one of the largest and most complete athletes of all time. He went from the WWE to UFC, and the reason for that was related to the fact that, well, as he mentioned, if I recall, he said there that it was much easier for him to have a couple of matches per year than moving from town to town and wrestling for each week. And but also he wanted to prove himself in a ring where they don't improvise the moves. The match is not scripted or anything. So he went to UFC because in order to also gain legitimacy. And not just him, but in general, Batista has done the same thing, and CM Punk, he also went to UFC. So wrestling has an entire list of names that went from professional wrestling in the octagon, in the UFC cage, in order to gain legitimacy, in order, so to speak, in order for them to prove that they're not just tough guys in the wrestling ring, they're also tough guys in the punching cage in UFC. And so when Brock Lesnar came back, if you remember, in 2012, John Laurinaitis, he mentioned that well, legitimacy was brought back to the WWE. So basically, not just now with this merger, not just Brock Lesnar, not just CM Punk, not just Batista, not just The Undertaker was also a huge fan of UFC. So not just some members, of the roster have legitimacy, but now basically the entire roster, the entire WWE, by merging with UFC, they now they have legitimacy as a company, not as a specific wrestlers that went to the UFC, but them as a whole. Now the next aspect is the fact that the WWE is now less PG. If you remember, in 2008, the WWE went from TV-14 to parental guidelines to to the what became known as the PG era. They say wrestling commentators, some of them say that, well, the PG era ended in 2014. However, this is disputed because right now, the WWE is still PG, and there so far there's no news on when this thing is going to end, if it's going to. However, even though it's still G scripted, throughout 2024 we've had no disqualification matches. So wrestling was known for for their beneath the ring wrestling items like the tables, the chairs, the ladders, the kendo sticks, the trash cans. So basically, when the PG era started in late 2000s, starting with 2008, the no disqualification matches were were removed from the shows. And so, but now I saw there, especially this week's Raw, there was like a no disqualification match with the Miz. So the fact that the no disqualification matches are back is a very good news for for decades old WWE fans. And now the last aspect is the fact that 1 year on since the WWE and UFC merged together, we now realize that history was created because basically the UFC is, the largest mixed martial arts promotion in the world, and the WWE is basically, is the largest professional wrestling company in the world. And so the fact that these two giants merged together, the largest fighting company of all time was created. Because, as Brock Lesnar said, both companies promote fights. UFC promotes mixed martial arts and the WWE promotes pro wrestling. And so I will end this video by mentioning the fact that what we have witnessed for the past year is the creation of TKO Group Holdings, which is basically the largest fighting company of all time, that basically is made of the largest mixed martial arts promotion, UFC, and the largest professional wrestling company, which is the WWE.